Hey, I'm about to show you Jamin's testimonial. He's been an incredible client with us, and he came in, and I think in this testimonial he mentioned he did 25k. But since then, in April, he actually did 60k, which is proof just here. I'll put a screenshot just here to show you. But since then, he's done that, and while all this applies, it's very cool to be able to say that in April he got to that 60k a month mark. So this is his testimonial. This is exactly what he says. It's been such a pleasure working with him, such a top guy. But yeah, just wanted to jump in and say that the results are even better than when he filmed his testimonial. So let's hear what Jamin has to say.
I'd seen that viral reel of yours. I recognise it. I know this guy from somewhere. I was like, you know what? I'll pull the trigger, and very, very grateful I did. It was quite nice that everyone was in a similar position to me, but in their own respective niche. And one of the big things that you kind of push on is to just focus on the things that you enjoy and that you can't remove yourself from as well. This aligns with me. So that system is like one of the big things that I think has changed and has fully I've internalized as a process for my business. With the Greece trip, for example, again, it was just, I think that was genuinely it's one of the highlights of my year so far. If I could go back in time to whenever it was February, would I sign up? I'd sign up even quicker. And the ROI money-wise is already there.
Sick. Jamin, thank you so much for agreeing to do this. And maybe it would be great to start off with first what it is you actually do for the masses to know what you're up to.
Sounds good. Yeah, so I'm a maths tutor. I help students who want to get into Oxford and Cambridge get in. So they've got to do some extra admissions tests and interviews. And that's something that I did when I was a student. And I went on and studied at Oxford. Really, really enjoyed the maths side of things. I'm a big maths nerd. And I think it's quite nice to be able to help other people who are in a similar position to where I was a few years ago. And also build business out of it and enjoy my lifestyle.
Sick.
Or have a lifestyle kind of around that, yeah.
Yeah, awesome. And well, I mean, firstly, it's been so fun working with you. Obviously, we caught up on the Greece trip as well. I think I want to use this video for anyone watching who is maybe either on the fence of joining us or someone who just wants to know more about your journey and how you scaled. I think you said 25k pounds this month, which is awesome. But I want to tell more about the storyline of why you joined, what we've helped you with, and also what you've worked on, so that it's very useful for anyone watching to understand how you scaled. But first question is what actually made you join us in the first place?
Good question. So I think it might be a little bit different to others. So I'll be honest, I don't think I'd seen too much of your content. I think I'd seen that viral reel of yours with why I quit my whatever it was 60k consulting job in London. I'd seen that because I recognise it. So I know this guy from somewhere. But it's actually so I was part of another community and he did a call in there, and I think it was just the angle that I don't want to say a refreshing angle, but it was something about that was different. It wasn't just scale by make more content or scale by do more ads. It was something that I'd not seen, and it was in a different tone. I thought it was also something that I resonated with. So I'll have a call with this guy. So quite like how things seem to operate, and yeah, I was like, you know what, I'll pull the trigger, and very, very grateful I did.
I appreciate that, mate. And what were the things or the pain points or the things you were looking to solve? Obviously it was great to have you in, but you must have been thinking, okay, I need a few things to be stabilized, sorted, a few things to have some help in, and that's why you joined. What were they?
Good question. I think if I think to some other maybe communities or things that I've invested in the past, the program was slightly more generic or something like that. Thank you, cheers. I just ordered a coffee. So. No, I'm fine, thank you, cheers.
Make sure you enjoy that, mate. I've had my afternoon coffee as well.
Nice. What was I saying? Oh yeah, so it was a bit generic in the sense that it was a bit more well, one thing I liked about yours is it was all people like myself who are essentially coaches. They help people with some sort of problem. It could be fitness, it could be football lads holiday, it could be copywriting, it could be whatever. But it was quite nice that everyone was in a similar position to me, but in their own respective niche. And therefore that meant that that's basically what this focused on. And in particular, it was all through content. I think that's exactly who I am. With some of the other people I've spoken to, it's been a bit more ads focused and a bit more something else focused. And if I think about the things that I personally enjoy about the business, it is the content side of things. And one of the big things that you kind of push on is your aim should be to just do that, like just do content, remove yourself from all the other boring parts of the business and just focus on the things that you enjoy and that you can't remove yourself from as well. This aligns with me.
Awesome, man. And what, and I appreciate that. It's so cool because I think one of the things that you have done really well, and it's also fun to work with, is I don't have to convince you to post content, and I don't have to convince you, like, you know, when we're in Greece and you're like, I woke up for my morning coffee, I was like, I'm 100% going to be the first person up. It's like, nope, Jamie's filming a mass video. And I love that. Like that's so authentic, which is also the people that I love to work with. I think that's how we connect at the start, is your genuine enjoyment for maths and enjoyment for helping other people, which is cool and massive. Congrats on that. What do you think are the other stages, like in the growth of your business? What do you think are the other stages that you have really hit in terms of maybe pricing, packaging, in terms of sales calls? What are the things that you feel like have been milestones on the journey to where you are now?
Yeah, good question. I think really honing in, I don't know if that's the right phrase, but honing in on my sales process. So before it was it was a one call close, and I wasn't as good as coding. I'm still not an expert at it, but wasn't as good. And it was a little bit like, meeting the parents for the first time. They feel quite under pressure. Who is this Jamin guy? And so now I quite like the system that you've kind of, I think, used, and also I've basically stolen off you. It's the too cool.
It's allowed. I think that's what you're paying for.
But yeah, it works really, really well, and I've seen it obviously not just improve the sales rate, but which is great, but it's also more so I feel it works much more nicely. It saves my time a lot because it helps me, you know, qualify and then cut off any people who I don't think would, you know, who aren't qualified. But it also, more from the prospect's point of view, is that they get a chance to fully be nurtured, or if they tell me in the diagnosis call that they're struggling with X, Y, and Z, I can send them some YouTube videos or things that I've made to obviously help them, give them some value, but also help nurture them. They'll probably end up watching a few more videos as well. I think it just works very, very well. So that system is like one of the big things that I think has changed and has fully, like, I've internalized as a process for my business.
Yeah, awesome. And what are some of the other things that I think I want to make this really useful for anyone who's like, okay, someone may be sitting there between the 10, 15, 20K a month, and I know you've done some, and that's like dollars, right? So for you, what are some of the other things that you're like, all right, these are the levers that I pulled to grow. These are the things that I did. I guess talking about, I think I'm thinking pricing changed, right? I think I'm something along the lines of that, and then different packages. I think just touch on that because I think that's super useful for people to work out how they can themselves scale at the same time.
Yeah, there's two things. I'll touch on that, and then also as you were saying that, I was thinking of something else, which I'm in. So the first thing in terms of the pricing, so I think, I can't remember when we started, it was February, something like that. I had just the one offer then, and it was a bit of all or nothing. And I think that maybe came from a naive point of view, where it's like, from my perspective, it was an amazing offer. And I still think it is, but it's, you know, I think having the ones to fall down on means that I'm leaving less cash on the table fundamentally. And so having a bit of clarity on that and how I can structure it, how I can price anchor, all these sorts of things, that was super useful. So having more offers to make it a bit more like budget friendly for different prospects, but also, and this leads me nicely onto my next point, is to remove myself from the business. So my top offer was very Jamin intense. Like every client I took on would then also take out X amount of time in my calendar, which obviously isn't scalable. So having then some smaller offers, which yes was less cash, but then more, can sell as many of those as I want, sort of thing. So that was really nice to have some clarity on. And then that kind of leads me nicely onto my next point, which is something you always bang on about, which is trying to be as lazy as possible, which I think was very counterintuitive. Like I was going into the year thinking, right, lock in. This is the year we lock in. The 12-hour days, that's broke numbers. It's got to be 14, that sort of thing. So, but then yeah, I think you've done some talks about this, but in particular in Greece, when you were saying, I was like, these are so many things I can do that I'm doing that I don't need to be doing. So taking on a VA, taking on other people, even like VA was the start because it's nice because it's nice and cheap, you don't pay too much. But then I was thinking, actually, there's loads of things where I'm spending a lot of time on, which yes, they require a bit more skill, but fundamentally there's an ROI there. So for example, now I have a lot of people helping with my media, my scheduling, my other bits and bobs as well. So it's a nice feeling to be have less to do, but know that I can spend more of that time on the bigger moves.
Yeah, it's so interesting that people like they do that. They take longer, or they feel like they need to grind, don't they? And I feel like that's explain why because you were in that grinding phase. I remember you saying like, I remember we had a few calls where you were in your flat and you were like, I'm working really hard and I feel like I'm grinding. Why, or what are the few things about that lazy framework which stuck out to you as like, this makes sense. This is like how I need to start running my business.
Sorry, what was the first bit of that question?
Like when you're within the lazy framework that you mentioned, why did you start thinking, okay, this is actually the direction I need to point my business in?
Good question. So I think it was very much, I took a step back and thought, why, what am I doing? Why am I doing a business? I could be like, politely, but with my skill set as an ultimate mathematician, I could be earning, it's a lot of money doing other things, not having other forms of stress, but not having the stress of my own business. I'm saying, what am I doing this for? Why am I doing this? And I think we had a few conversations about this. And one of the big things that I think I really value is the impact that I have on students, the impact that I have on people from like my community, in the sense of people who are 16 to 18 who really like maths and want to study maths at a really top institution. I wanted to have an impact on that community. And I was thinking, if I am spending 14 hours a day and I'm doing eight of those hours on teaching the actual lessons, just for example, that's 8 hours. Well, I don't realistically, I'm a good tutor, but there are lots of other good tutors as well. If I can delegate those 8 hours to someone else, I then have those 8 hours to make YouTube videos. So instead of just helping one specific student, I can help 500,000 of students. But then also the added benefit is then that's slowly growing my business. That's maybe one or two new viewers to the channel who are then getting on the conveyor belt of watching my content, and then later down the line they'll book in a call with me. So I was thinking in terms of the impact that I have, if that is truly what I want, which I think it still is now, is I'm doing a disservice to my ICP community, let's say, if I am just focusing on the actual delivery and I'm not focusing on other areas, or if I'm focusing on sending WhatsApp messages or editing videos or scheduling my videos, all these things, which, yes, they're small activities, but they add up. That's adding to my time, which I have the same 24 hours in a day that anyone else does, but also the like stress, right? The mind space, the head space. Whereas I know that if I had a week, I could bang out a bunch of videos to help so many people just from the videos themselves, but then also help people discover who I am, which fundamentally, humbly so, that will help them with their maths. So
absolutely. No, absolutely. And I love that your impact focus. I think that's exactly, like, you talk about wanting to be in the community of the like-minded people. I think that's what's cool, is that I don't want to fill my community full of scale bros. Like, I want them to be people who actually do cool things, because like I don't want to be just making more Lambo boys in Dubai. I want to be making people who are actually doing cool things, and I appreciate that. Like, I guess lastly on that part is, obviously you talk about the conversations we've had. What are some of the other things around the community, the trips, the calls that maybe you've appreciated as well, and think have helped you on the journey?
Good. Well, so that with the calls, for example, the group calls, at least, like, it's obviously nice you get to see the other people as well. And it's just, again, a nice natural community feel. Everyone's in a similar position. It's also, again, I think given what I said about the impact I want to have, I think me as a person, I like to help people, but also it's nice to help and then also receive something back. Like, if you help someone who's in a similar position to where I was a few months ago, but then equally there's someone in the community who's had an issue that I'm currently having before. And they can help me out there. So everyone's quite friendly. Everyone's quite open to, I could DM anyone to have a question, to have ask about sales. Obviously, there's yourself. There's obviously Matthias, Joe, who I can send a message to pretty much anytime. They'll all respond to me. And also with the group calls is, sometimes when someone asks a question, I'll go, oh, actually, yeah, I've had a call like that before. There was a similar issue I had, but my question is slightly different. I can just put a message in. And so the benefit of that is, even if I wasn't there, I wouldn't have thought of that question, but someone else asking that question means that I get that question answered. With the Greece trip, for example, again, it was just, I think that was genuinely one of the highlights of my year so far, just because I was surrounded by, again, people in a similar position, but it just kind of humanizes it. Like right now, I'm talking to a screen, and a lot of my days are sat behind this old computer, and I think it puts a different angle on it. Like, again, it kind of hits hits home as to the why we do what we do, and also makes me reflect on, yeah, where was I 2 years ago? Where was I 3 years ago, 4 years ago? Makes me grateful for the work that I put in, but also makes me look forward to the few years to come.
I love it. I love it, man. Well, I appreciate it a lot. And just lastly, someone's on the fence about joining. They're not sure whether they want to or not. What would you say to them?
Good question. So, like, it's a good question. I would say yes, but I don't want to just say yes because that sounds too like, it would obviously depend on their situation. I would say it depends on what you want. But if anything that I've said so far like really resonates with you, if you were to ask me, so would I go back, if I could go back in time to whenever it was February, would I sign up? I'd sign up even quicker, like than what I did. I think I was also an objection-free fifth, but nonetheless, I'd still sign up even quicker. But like on a serious note, the reason being because fundamentally, why do you invest? You invest to get an ROI, and the ROI money-wise is already there. Like for me, obviously, yeah, you've got to make use of the resources, you've got all that sort of stuff, but it's definitely there. But then on top of that, I think with the way that I've connected with yourself and connected with other people in the community, I've built friendships, I've built a small community, but I've also built a lot of confidence in myself, in my skills. And I've also, I think, just had a lot more clarity in what it is that I want from not just the business, but for myself and the expectations I set for myself, and also the bar I set for myself. I think that's been naturally pushed, which is something that I've always tried for.
I appreciate that, mate. That's unbelievably kind of you, and I have a lot of respect in the way that you joined and just got in, and the way that you operate around. And it's inspiring to see how much you care about the people you work with. So mate, genuinely enjoy it a lot, and long way we continue. And I appreciate all your enthusiasm and everything like that.
Yeah, good man.
Cheers, my friend.